people. Week 1 in the books, and this is another episode of the Giants Guy. In the lab with Vibes, okay, you know Eli, and of course Mikey Fresh. Guess what? Guess who we're not in the lab with? Kevin Balls. Okay, so it is week 1 of the NFL season. We're thinking somehow Mr. Boss is on West Coast time, and he must have got tied up with flag football because I know he's coaching his kids, and maybe they ran long, but we did wait for a while, so we're moving on. We're going to give you guys some content and go to bed. So anyway, week 1 in the books. We also did this exact same live thing after the game, guys. So I pulled over on the turnpike, guys. Fresh, you were home. Vibes, you were home. And I was at Molly Pitcher rest stop, the famous Molly Pitcher rest stop. And we chewed a little bit of the game up. And I know we're eager to move on real fast because Washington's here. I'm going to give you guys each your say, like, what are you thinking now, a full 48 hours after the game? Start off with you, Eli. Where are you mentally? What did you think? I read your piece today. Rackham, love it. Awesome job.
Thank you.
If you guys haven't got a chance yet, make sure you head over to nygiantsrush.com. There's Java with Jones, which of course is Mikey Fresh's piece that comes out every Monday. And then there's Rackham, which is this is what we do here. We do nicknames and we do cool names. I mean, if you haven't realized that now, I mean, we have the Truth El Jefe, Mr. Glass Half Full, Vibes, and Mikey Fresh and the Maestro. We do cool names. That's why we have Pilgrim's Point, the Film Room, Coach's Corner, Rackham, and Java with Jones. We do cool stuff. As also you saw there's new hoodies in, which I know all you guys were like, yo.
Gotta get them.
Yeah.
Fire.
That's a hot one. It showed up today, navy blue with the white. I call it the color rush version of NY Giants Rush. So thanks for all the support. Eli, handing it to you. What's your thoughts 48 hours later?
Pretty much to kind of think about it 48 hours later, I'm pretty calm. Still upset, still perturbed, but I am calm. I'm going to treat this like any other game that we, played when we were younger in high school or college, whatever the case is. You got to flush this out pretty quick. And I'm flushing it out my system. I'm on to Washington football. The only thing, if I may, that may concern me, again, historically, the Giants really don't do well with second-string quarterbacks, right? So we have that history as well. So that's the only thing that concerns me. I just hope that they're ready to go. I want to see them fired up on all cylinders coming out this game this Thursday. I want to see some quick passes, some quick running, see what Saquon can do. Let's just start off fast, man. Like, it just looked lethargic this past Sunday. So let's see what we can do.
Living under a rock, what he's talking about is that Fitzmagic will not be playing on Thursday in case somehow, you've been abroad or maybe you live under a rock or in Atlantis and you don't really know that, what's going on in the world. Well, Fitzmagic's not playing and the backup is playing. So he's alluding to the fact that the Giants historically have lost probably a dozen games by backup QBs. Does that kind of sum up what you were saying there?
Absolutely. I mean, you put it into better words for me, so I appreciate that, brother. But that's exactly what I was going to. Historically, we lost a lot of games with backup quarterbacks from what I can remember, and I'm sure it could go back a little bit further. But that's something. Hopefully, we could change this Thursday.
All right, so you're on to Washington. You're not hovering, hanging. You're not losing any sleep over anything. You've completely turned, as God rest his soul, Stuart used to say, the other side of the pillow. You've already flipped over, and you're on to something new.
I'm gone. I'm on to the next one, and I think the majority of Giants fans should as well. However, I'm not mad at you guys being frustrated. Trust me, I am not. But just to give you guys some good advice and to just kind of kick it with Vibes on how Vibes do it, let's just move on to the next one and see if we can get a W from this week.
All right, Fresh. Yeah, what's your thought 48 hours later here?
Yeah, I think that you can certainly dwell on it and be upset, or you can have the mentality of to move forward. I mean, we've seen enough stories where, like, I remember specifically sitting down watching Eli Manning throw pass after pass to the Minnesota Vikings, thinking that this team has no chance. I remember specifically being at the game against at the time Washington Redskins, now the Washington Football team in December where he threw the ball 52 times.
What are they waiting for, by the way? Could they drag their feet
Get a new name
anymore?
It's ridiculous.
I mean, hey, Mr. Snyder, get a grip and name your team. Nobody gives a crap. Just put a name on it already. What?
Absolutely.
You think you're punishing the NFL? Jeez.
No.
Go ahead, Fresh. Go ahead.
I remember, a few years later, losing multiple games that like looked like real daggers, and then you find out that like it doesn't matter what you look like at any point, as long as you get into the playoffs, like that's the main objective. So with that being said, though, we've seen this so many times before, and just like the way that they played, the way that they can't finish on offense when they're driving and they turn it over and make dumb mistakes, the way that on defense there's a crucial big third down or fourth down that they lose it on, the way that when they need a moment, when they need a stop, the offense fails, the defense fails, and they fall apart. Like, just that is just so concerning. And what I'm thinking going into this game is that defensively, I'm really, really anxious to see what Patrick Graham does. That last game was his worst as a member of the New York Giants coaching staff in the last 2 years. Patrick Graham got absolutely embarrassed. And these defensive players like didn't do enough. Didn't do enough. So they need to have a bounce back. Offensively, Barkley got the first one done. 3 days rest. I'm not expecting a big workload. I am expecting a little bit of creativity to get him in space. I'm expecting a little bit more from Golladay now that he's got the first game under his belt with Jones. I'm expecting a couple of deep passes here, test that secondary. So they got to open it up. They can't be predictable. So, I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
I like all those takes.
And just to piggyback, we were right as far as Barkley getting 8 to 10 touches that game. He got 10. So again, I'm going to ask you guys, because if you don't mind answering, what do you think he'll carry? Like, how many touches you think he'll get this game? Because I'm thinking 10 again.
Yeah. Well, let me reiterate what I said to you the other night on the way home. There was some backlash on Twitter, of course, about Barkley not showing up or whatever. Not in those exact words, but here's the thing. Fresh and I were in the stands. I don't know if you could see it on TV or not, but he ran decisively. He wasn't hesitant. He carried the pile 4 yards to get that first down, in the third quarter or maybe early in the fourth quarter. Yes, he dropped the pass. That's definitely rust. No doubt about it, right? He didn't slow up at all. He tried to hit the holes as fast as he can. There weren't any holes. I'm completely okay. Again, I'm beating a dead horse. If you listened on Sunday night, I think physically he's okay there. Mentally, he made a huge leap. He woke up Monday morning going, okay, we got that out of the way. Time to move. You know what I mean? So I could see him getting 15 carries this week, or maybe 10 rushes and 5 pass plays. But he will be by week 5. I would think he's potentially at 100% reintegrated into the offense where he's passing and catching. But we do know that he's got good hands. They should try to keep him in space because right now we're struggling running the ball.
And there was nowhere to go. If there's if you see him get the edge a little bit and get caught, or you see him run a pattern and not run away from a linebacker, then I'd be a little more concerned. But he just had nowhere to go.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I still sit on the fact is if you want to win, well, let me jump back to for Fresh Ed, because Barkley, yes, I'm thinking 10 carries, maybe 5 catches. Eli, I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely, yes, thank you.
And Patrick Graham is such a smart cat. You're right. And I know this is going to be hard for people to understand, but getting smacked in the mouth makes you a better fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Buster Douglas and Tyson. Tyson had never gotten hit before. And when he got hit, he went down, right? So, sometimes getting hit in the mouth, makes you better for it. I'm pretty sure that Graham's is right now sitting in his office saying, not going to let that ever happen again, because he's always been a guy mixing it up. People love him. He's got his own name, a Black Picasso. They're filing line like the Pied Piper, whatever he says they go. And guess what? He brought them to a very short pier and they all went into the ocean together, right?
Yeah.
So I think time around, Fresh, you're going to have him like either making some, because Eli's piece today was saying he didn't see any adjustments at halftime. And what's interesting about that comment is I didn't see any adjustments at halftime either. However, and this is basically for both of you guys, I don't think Patrick Graham's a halftime adjuster. I think Patrick Graham adjusts series by series. Like some guys will say, this is the plan. We get to halftime and they either say, let's tweak the plan or throw the plan out. And I'll tell you why I think that. I heard this interview with, oh my God, I can't believe I'm drawing, Charlie Weiss. Okay. He used to coach the Notre Dame and you know, he was a coach in the NFL. He would say that, you know, early on in the 80s, they were playing the Patriots. He was with the Patriots, and the Patriots were losing, you know, to the Giants, and they slaved over this game plan. And he went to Parcells and he went, "Hey, this ain't working. We gotta go to 2-minute offense." And this was in like the second quarter. And Parcells was like, "All right, roll with it." You know what I mean? And so I think Graham is that kind of guy where if it's not working by series 2, he's on to something else. He's mixing and matching. I just think this specific game, he didn't do that. I think he sat on what he planned. And it's a very good observation by you, Eli, because I think normally he's like, all right, I'm going to try Fackrell in here with Leonard Williams, and then I'm going to pull him out, put BJ Hill. I think he sat on the game plan this week and got punched in the mouth.
No, it's funny. It's funny you said that, but too, because, you know, usually you do see those type of adjustments, especially when we had Steve Spagnuolo. You know, it shows you like, hey, he made some adjustments throughout that game, each and every down if he had to. You know, and Patrick Graham did the same thing, especially last season.
And you know what?
Like, good.
I'm looking at the snap count. I mean, if other guys can't get it done, Ojulari is going to eat into their snaps. You know what I'm saying? Like these other guys, like I'm just looking at the snap counts from all these guys. Carter had 58. Leonard Williams had 51.
Right there. You just nailed it. Honestly, the guy that's got no shade whatsoever is Zoe Carter. He did nothing.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game.
Like they gave him, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Fresh, he got like 58 snaps.
Yeah, 58 snaps. And Ojulari had 34. Snaps. That's like half. And Ojulari, I saw him more.
I mean, there was like 61 total snaps. He had 58 snaps and he did nothing.
No.
Like, and that goes to what he's always been. He's always been streaky. And I'm not trying to be that guy. I just think you can make a living with Leonard Williams, Zimenez, and Ojulari, and what's his name in Dexter in the middle. I'm not really a big Zoe Carter fan.
Yeah.
No, I agree with
better.
That.
He's gonna have to be better. A lot of these guys are gonna have to be better. But yeah, I mean, they're just gonna have to get big defensively. I'm like a little more like, all right, I think it was rusty, and I think that they've shown me a season of production last year. Sure. The offense is a little bit more like, all right, like what can they do? Can we be a little bit more creative to get guys
open?
Space?
You got to get guys open. But hold on,
guys.
I got to throw this at you guys. The two guys that got really exposed against the Broncos was actually there's like 3 guys was Peppers, McKinney, Logan Ryan, and Adoree Jackson. Like Bradbury had gave up maybe like 2 throws.
I thought Ryan played well.
I didn't say he didn't play well, but the safeties got exposed because Noah Fant the safety's got to pick up the tight end on majority of these.
Especially Jabril. Jabril had a very bad game.
So
absolutely.
So here's what I'm going to ask you. One, he didn't get a lot of snaps. His snap count was way down.
30.
And he voiced his opinion in a paper today without saying anything negative, or he was all team. But you can hear the overtones. Like, I think they asked him, why was your snap count down? And he goes, I don't know. That was new. You could see that he doesn't like it, but he understands it's a team game and he's going to play team. Question is, he's also up for a contract. Are they phasing him out, or was it a case of he just was not playing that well, so they cut him by snaps? Fresh. What is it? Is it, they're trying to basically saying like, hey, maybe we don't want to depend on this guy, or he just had a bad game?
Probably just a game plan thing. I wouldn't look too much into it until it continues to happen. But I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't cover. Nobody really covered well, not even Bradbury. But like Adoree Jackson was pretty bad. I'm hoping that was to him coming over with getting over an ankle injury. The other thing to realize too is that like with what they were running across the board, the Broncos have targets that are like 6'4". And Bridgewater was like more or less throwing in the middle against big bodies. I think we're more suited as like a speed team to cover guys than like match up with those big bodies. So just a bad matchup, and we got exposed.
What about you? What do you think, Eli? Is this writing on the wall for Peppers, or
no,
game by game thing?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more of a game by game for Jabril. He didn't play well. I mean, at the end of the day, when you see him covering the tight end, he didn't really play well. So I think they just had that maybe that was the adjustment for him in there to get somebody else to cover that tight end because they were getting killed. But at the same time, I really want to feed into it, because Jabril Peppers is more of a guy that got to get motivated. Like, he got to get that engine rolling, and he'll give you a couple of probably plays off or whatever the case is, not to say plays off, but lack of a better word. But he's a guy that you just got to keep in there to get that engine revving up a little bit more. He's that type of guy. They should have kept him in there. But at the same time, hey, I understand we was getting killed and some adjustments had to be made if they were made.
They had to blitz him. If he's not going to cover well, like he's a playmaker, I would just put him in and blitz him. Not every time because it's predictable.
Well, he's that hybrid linebacker. He's always in the box.
He does play well in the box, but he had to cover this week because, as Fresh just alluded to, their receivers are 6'2.5", 6'3.5", 6'4", and if he got a little bit exposed, and I don't think Patrick Graham helped him out. So, all right, well, I appreciate, chiming in, because I like Peppers, but I will say that looking at his ability to play safety doesn't look like it did 2 years ago. He's now like an in the box safety, playing less snaps and returning punts. And I'm like,
hey, we got 1 trillion DBs too, man. Like, who's getting snaps where?
Yeah, it's more of a function. He'll be fine. It's more of a function of like the makeup of the team and the versatility and stuff. So they got a lot of moving parts, and they got to kind of figure it out. Figure out whose roles what.
How about this? Whatever role they had sucked. Because
for all of them.
Yeah, whatever they decided to draw up, practice, re-practice, and rinse and repeat did not work. So technically, cutting Pepper snaps didn't help you a dang bit.
Nothing helped.
You know what I mean?
Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Patrick Graham. You know what I mean? I know you got some new pieces, some new toys. You want to get some snaps in there as far as maybe he was creative that way. Somebody was a speedster, so he put a speedster in there as far as a cornerback or whatever the case is. Maybe he wanted to mix it up like that. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Go with the guys that you think is going to cover well, or go with the guys that you think is going to be best suited for the scheme that you have. And last year it showed you had very minimal on the team, and you were top 10. You know what I mean? So now that you have more pieces, now you got to figure things out. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe rotate a couple guys in there, but you have to stick to that game plan and just tweak it just a tad bit.
I asked you guys a couple minutes ago about 48 hours late, what's rubbing you wrong or maybe rubbing you right. So I just as you were speaking, something popped in my head that had me like doing like an exorcist. How like that movie, where the head goes all the way around, like
The Exorcist.
Yeah, well,
that's a classic.
Yeah, thank you. I was drawing a blank for a second. Well, that's that. I had a moment like that on Sunday, and then when I remembered that moment again, I just, my whole head was like I was like, oh no. Fresh, do you still have the snap counts up?
I could pull it up easily. What's up?
Yeah, pull up the snap counts, and please.
Saying she's thinking.
Please tell me how many snaps Ragland had.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing yet. I just want to know how many snaps he had.
Do you want me to tell you?
You know what? When I seen his name, I'm sorry, Fresh, hold on a sec. When I seen his name, I was like, yo, Santucci's at that stadium, freaking screaming at the top of his lungs right now. What the hell you have Ragland in there for?
Listen,
I'm sorry, Fresh.
I'm like this. I'm like, I got Tate Crowder.
Yeah.
Okay. I got Carter Coughlin, and you got Reggie Ragland in here. And by the way, do yourself a favor. If you guys download this, upload this, share this, I'm going to ask only two things. One now and one when the show's over. And when the show's over, what I'm going to ask you is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. What I'm going to ask you to do now, it's a little homework assignment from the Maestro. Go back and watch the film if you can get the all 22, or if you recorded it or whatever. This is for both you guys. It's pretty much a yes or no answer. Do you remember maybe early second quarter, Washington in the red zone or close to the red zone, and a ball batted down? Bridgewater rolls out to his right, and somebody bats the ball.
Maybe, yeah.
All right.
So I don't know.
It's all right. It's all good. On that play, right, the receiver ran right by Ragland and into the end zone. He was wide open, okay? And
wait, that was when the receiver dropped it in the end zone?
No, that was later in the game, right?
Okay.
So they're on, like, let's say between like the 20 and the 25. And Bridgewater rolls to his right. He's getting chased. The receiver ran right by Ragland into the end zone. By the way, Ragland turns around and he's like he's trying to catch up to the receiver. Yeah. It's a wide open touchdown, and I don't know who swats it down. Might have been
Darnay Holmes, I think.
Yeah, it might have been Holmes. Yeah, somebody knocks the ball down, goes out of best, but otherwise it was a touchdown.
So
how many snaps did Ragland have?
25, and
that's too much.
14 against the run, 1 where he rushed the passer, and 10 where he was in coverage. And those are the ones that you don't want him in coverage.
No.
I saw enough of him in coverage. So it's funny. Certain guys, like you watch a little bit in coverage and you're like, okay, there's potential, or ooh. And he's one of the ones that, like, it was like made me cringe. Lorenzo Carter in coverage, the times that they did it looked lost. Like, those guys just shouldn't be covering.
Carter gets swallowed up in the line, so you don't, a lot of times, don't see like the mistakes he made because you don't know what the package, if he's in A gap, B gap, you don't know if he's slant. You just don't know. But when you watch Reggie Ragland in space, just like literally like on roller skates, I keep asking myself, why? Like, what on God's green earth, or why would you take Crowder out of the game for that guy?
Yeah,
but go ahead. I'm sorry, Fresh.
No, I agree. The whole team, none of the guys covered, even guys that are normally good at covering. So, let alone guys that are always going to suck at covering.
Sure. Right. I mean, when you think of a linebacker, Blake is probably the guy that can actually cover pretty well. The rest of them, who you got? I mean, that's probably why they put Jabril in there in that role.
Well, you don't need them to cover, though. They don't play with a lot of linebackers all the time. Like, there's on passing situations, there's like maybe just Blake on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they have 6 DBs. But here's the thing: we've seen Carter Coughlin and Tate Crowder cover before. Like, Tate Crowder's a pretty fast dude. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. He's put some weight on in the offseason, but like I trust Tate Crowder. And Coughlin.
Coughlin had 4 snaps. I don't know if he was hurt or.
Yeah, like that's like there you go. There you go. Guy balls out all preseason, right? And gets 4 snaps, and he loses snaps for Reggie Ragland. Like, there's just seems to be, and I think this goes back to your piece, Eli. Just outcoached.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Patrick Graham, for the genius that he is, and I said this exactly in the article, for the genius that he is, wore that dunce cap, right? He didn't do well at all. He got outcoached by Pat Shermer. And credit to Pat Shermer, man. He is a great offensive coordinator. I don't care what anybody says. But his head coach tenure, I don't care. He's a great offensive coordinator. Look what he's doing to all these quarterbacks. Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is better than Case Keenum, but still is Teddy Bridgewater.
And he hasn't played a lot of ball in the last 3 years.
No, you know what I mean? So look what it made him look elite back there. It made him like Peyton Manning back there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So credit to Pat Shermer, man. It's just Patrick Graham got to figure it out. And you got to do it quick, man, because the Washington football team, you're heading down there probably tonight to go prepare for that game tomorrow.
And their defense just got let up a lot of yards
Thursday.
too, uncharacteristically. So their defense will be coming after it. You know, you got to expect Chase Young and those guys to really be ready to roll. So
well then let's segue to the big man. I thought Thomas had a pretty good game. I mean, the run blocking is not great, but I thought Thomas had a nice bounce back type of game. What do you guys think about him? We've seen plenty of tape that in college, Thomas, he didn't sweat Young at all.
he actually did well against him last year too.
And
Absolutely.
last year, like Andrew Thomas has always done really well against these Washington football teams. Stupid, name the team. You know, so are you guys still comfortable with Thomas? Because I actually think what's really cool about this game is it's a great time to give Andrew Thomas a shot of confidence right now. Because I'll tell you, if he has a good game against Washington, look out, this kid's going to bounce back.
He had a good game in week 1 too. I mean, he really did.
I mean, you didn't really hear anything out of Von Miller, his 2 sacks. You didn't hear a whole lot out of Von Miller, and Von Miller's like 93 years old. I'm talking about like Chase Young has been going against Thomas for years, right?
Absolutely. I think they know each other pretty well. That's why I think he held them down pretty much last year as well. So
yeah,
they know each other. They know each other's moves. I'm sure they studied each other. This is going to be a brawl, in my opinion. You know, and as far as last week's game, he did well. You know what I mean? I don't know if Chubb was in there or not. Von Miller, if he was on that side, I got to go back and look at the tape. I don't think he was getting past him. Really, Von Miller came from the right side where that right tackle position was, and pretty much got all his pressure and sacks from that particular side where we didn't know who our right tackle was going to be, or still don't know who it was going to be at this point.
Yeah,
you know,
it all goes hand in hand. We criticized Jones a lot for staring down his targets. On a couple of the passes that were down the field that he didn't stare down his targets, or maybe it was just him inadvertently like going through his reads, not intentionally looking other ways to manipulate the defense. But on the touchdown to Shepard, if you watch, Thomas does an awesome job. He allows that play to develop, and on a couple of the others down the field passes, he held up, man. Like he did good. He did his job.
Listen, these aren't the hog mollies Dave Gettleman promised us, you know, but he's that anchor that is starting something really good, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. They could probably hear my comments tomorrow or whatever the case is, but Andrew Thomas played well. Give credit when credit's due, people. Yeah. I had no complaints about him. I think he played a great game.
And I think this week, like I said, if he has another good game, I actually think this is the springboard he needs to just start saying, you know what? Heck with this. I can do this. Like, because he had a good game. And I think if he has another good game against a really good defense and outside linebacker, like I just think like all of a sudden he starts believing in himself. Because I think sometimes it's a lot of press. He's got to answer questions. You know what I mean? Like, and he seems like a good old boy. You know what I mean? Like he just seems like a pretty chill guy. You know what I mean? He seems like a fun guy who just happens to be a really good football player. And then you jump him into New York, and it might be swallowing him up a little bit.
Yep.
So to get 2 weeks of 2 good games can really help him.
And also, don't forget, Shane Lemieux actually held up pretty decent too. So that could have probably helped him on that left side as well. Shane Lemieux had a decent game too.
Keep in mind, and I was with you too up until the fact I looked at the snap count. He only had about 22 snaps.
17,
The majority of the snaps went to how do I pronounce his name fresh? Bredesen?
Bredesen, yeah.
Bredesen got like 50 snaps.
Yeah,
they rotated, but Bredesen took 70% of the snaps.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I know watching Lemieux, it looked good.
He didn't play a lot, but he played well. I will say too, this is going to be a game again. Like we can't be predictable. Like they have a good pass rush. Okay, they know to neutralize it. We're gonna try to do some things. It can't be like the same old stuff.
We both know with that type of pass rush that the Giants have to run screen. Like you already know when you got a dominant defensive line to let them come on in and you pop that center, that center screen, that bubble screen. Like
Is Engram playing?
I don't think so.
Not sure. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
Probably
and by
too
the
soon.
way, I know, like, you put the ball in his hands and he runs like a deer and he takes off. I think that's another mistake. Everybody's saying the same thing. I've been saying it for years. I'm not patting myself on the back, just saying Caden Smith is a good tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not an elite tight end, but he's a good tight end. He should get more catches and he should be on the field more. I think they dropped in Rudolph a little too early. He dropped that ball right at the end zone. He turned the wrong way. He's probably still knocking the rust off, and they gave him 50 snaps.
Yeah.
Wolf. Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts to me. You look at Caden Smith is going to give you that boss ballad feel, if you ask me. You know what I mean? He's going to hold it down decently. Give you maybe 500 yards or 400 yards. With some catches in there. It's probably 40. And he's going to be there when you need plays. And they need to play him. He's a decent tight end, if you ask me.
And the biggest thing is he's not a liability in any facet of his game. Like with
Not at
Engram,
all.
like he's a liability to some degree. Like certain guys, like maybe they have bigger upside than Smith in the passing game, but like he's a reliable blocker and like he runs decent routes.
Hands, man.
He's got good hands. Yeah, I think that like the better, more well-rounded you are, and the less liabilities you have, and less holes in your game. Like last year, Lemieux was really good at run blocking, just not so good at pass. But like you just got to eliminate the holes in your game, because then the other team, these guys are too good. They're pros. They're going to attack you. They're going to watch film. They're going to know. Like, don't you think Washington knows they have two backs that can catch the ball? Don't you think they know who to get in matchups? Yeah, they're going to try to get Ragland in a matchup. They're going to try to get Zoe Carter in a matchup in one of the plays he's covering. They're going to try to expose Peppers. Like that's what they're going to do. Those backs are good out of the backfield.
And it's a copycat league. And I think I'm stealing this from one of you guys that said it on the previous live. It's a copycat league, right? So whatever Denver did this week, you damn sure right Washington's going to do, right? So this the
whatever the Chargers did, we should do.
There you go.
Well, again, are we smart?
Not that smart. No, he's not. He's going to run a curl, and it's going to drive me nuts.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Tony. Tony gets a total of 5 snaps. It was probably next to throwing the flag out there, on a automatic review of a score. It was to me, it was the second stupidest thing of the game. Purely on the fact that when Tony comes in, he's getting the ball. Like he needed more snaps to have some type of misdirection.
They got to get him
Tony
involved.
comes in the game, what do you expect him to do? He came in 5 plays. He got the ball 3 or 5 plays. I mean, so what you guys thought on Tony? We didn't see a whole lot, and what we did see didn't work out. Go ahead, Eli, I'll start with you.
Man, they're holding him back, in my opinion. The 2 plays that he came in for was a screen pass and I think something else. I forget what it was, but it was behind the line of scrimmage, I think, both times. Yep. So it wasn't utilizing him as what he should be. The guy's kind of, to me, people, it's kind of like an Odell Beckham type guy. He's just quick, twitchy, is going to get you that slant and then get you some yards after the catch, But as far as giving him the ball in that backfield, I understand we didn't have a running game and they were trying to spark something, but everyone knows what he's in there for on that particular play. Sure. So, of course, they're going to key in on him, and, of course, they're going to get him behind the line of scrimmage, which we saw. So they need to get him more involved out there as far as running routes, a little bit deep. Freaking give me some curls, give me some slants, but don't put him back that behind the line of scrimmage and doing
no curls. We don't want curls.
We don't want curls, but I'm willing to take that with Tony because I know how dynamic he can be. But as soon as we get him behind that line of scrimmage and they're throwing that screen pass, or whatever the case is, all the defenders know that he's okay. There's going to be a reverse. There's going to be a screen. And they're going to put right into him, and that's it. So get him out there, have him catch a few balls. Why not?
It's hard for me to believe that you can have a guy like Tony and Barkley and not cook some stuff up to have them both line up in the backfield a few times, have them both out left in the slot together. They got it.
Give me a wildcat.
Yeah, whatever. With those 2 guys on the field, you have to create your matchups. You just have to do it. There's not a lot of guys that can stick with them in short areas, right? Get them out on the side. If it's a zone defense, go somewhere else. If it's man to man, one of them runs a quick little move. It's not super difficult. I feel like they should be able to cook some stuff up here.
Oh yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Remember what we do when we had Barkley's rookie year and Odell was still on the team. What happened? They pitch it out to Odell. The whole team crashes Odell. He pumps it up top for 30-yard touchdown to Saquon. I mean, like, because you knew that if they had a little bit of razzle dazzle, maybe you catch somebody off guard, right? You're trying something new, but you've got those dynamic players back then. We still have dynamic players that you can add a wrinkle or two in and see how it goes. I mean,
and the problem is they got to be on the field together too. Like one of the reasons we were excited about bringing in Galladay, about Barkley coming back, and about like Ingram not being a number one was because then again, from a defensive game planning standpoint, okay, you have to account for different guys. And then what happens? You have your second, third, or fourth best coverage guy now on Sterling Shepard, which is a nightmare. He's going to beat them every time. So like just like having them on the field at the same time for a bundle of plays is important. Too many times it's like Slayton and Shepard are out there. Then the next time it's like Tony. It's like, come on, like they got to be smart about this. And that's what drives me nuts because Joe Judge, I give credit for being smart, but he's allowing Jason Garrett to run this rudimentary offense.
Listen, and you got to blame, as much as people love Joe Judge, this past game, you got to blame Joe Judge. You know what I mean?
A lot of people are going to turn on him after Thursday, including me.
After a while, that wonderful speech that he gives all the time, that gift of gab, a lot of people are going to start raising that eyebrow, and a lot of people are going to start turning away from that. Again, he has the gift of gab, man, but we're not going to be fooled if the product is, not on the field winning. Exactly. That eyebrow. That eyebrow. And I'll tell you, man, a lot of fans are going to be turned off if we can't win games. They're going to want his head on the platter. And then what he's going to say? He's going to talk nice? Nah, man, give me a winning team, period. There you go. Yeah. Guillotine. Let's go. MetLife Stadium.
Everything you said is 100%. I even tweeted it out today. I'm like, I can feel the tidal wave coming on because it's like, you just got the fan base has just seen bad football for a long time. So you're going to get a lot of football, that's not played up to the level that the fans want because the fans have been sitting around for years waiting for something exciting. Love or hate Odell, he was fun to watch, and he turned into a diva and it became difficult to have him around, but they didn't replace him with anybody exciting either. You know what I mean? Like, they've always done a good job where like, hey, being a run team first, they always had great running backs. And then when we started to air it out more, we always had some pretty dynamic wide receivers, not stars, right? But guys that just lunch pail guys got the job done. And now here we are with some tools like Tony and Barkley. Like I feel like we're underutilizing them. So I'm with you wholeheartedly there. Like, give him the ball and let's see what he could do because no one else is doing anything with it.
Yeah, I guarantee you a bunch of offensive coordinators or offensive-minded coaches would love to have some of these weapons.
Hell yeah. And don't forget, Kadarius Toney, I believe, was a quarterback in high school, right? So he can throw the ball. You know, so mix up some plays to where he could throw that ball to someone. Mix it like how New Orleans did with
maybe have him play quarterback for us.
Taysom Hill.
Yeah, and Hill. Like mismatch, Wildcat, something. This playbook is just stale. It's just old. No one is doing these curls and slants. No, like it just looks plain.
We don't even like. We've got these, young offensive linemen. They're under the age of 25. We never pull anybody. I'm like, okay, get Hernandez or Lemieux out in front of the runner and up the hole. Pull the guard. Pull the center. I mean, like, I'd get out of Gates' way any day if I saw him coming, towards me to knock my head off. I was like, okay, Mr. Gates, go ahead right there. I mean,
now the genius that we have in Pat Flaherty. Now you have to think, okay, if they can't do any of that stuff, maybe that is not as talented as we think.
That is a really good point. It's a good point.
Because when Pat Flaherty was there and he had that offensive line clicking at some point, right?
No,
you're not in the league in some cases.
It is true.
Right?
It is true. There's a lot of talk today about are we evaluating the team?
Oh, yeah,
I don't want to say we're doing
Jeff's clip that he sent out.
Yeah. I don't want to say we are, but there is some validity to it. Because we're all trying to buy in and win and have a good time and watch the team grow. But
maybe we're still a few pieces away. Maybe because that was an eye opener hearing that, and I was like, man, maybe we are giving ourselves a little too much credit.
I think it's kind of easy to kind of jump on like shitting on the team after a performance like that. I think we got to find out quickly though if it's going to be a new quarterback or a new offensive coach. Like we got to know that. And if it is the coach, you can make that move in the middle of a season. If it's the quarterback, it's a little more challenging, of course.
4 games, I'll give it. I'll give it 4 games.
Well, you are listening to another episode of the Giants Guys. We are not quite sure why we didn't have Mr. Boss on. We're sure that he wanted to be here, as he's expressed to me that he was looking forward to hanging out and talking some Giants. Look, I had show notes. Burn out. I had my show notes ready to go. But we'll see. We'll see if we can get him on. But I'll also throw out a little challenge to all you Rush listeners and fans. There is a free gear pack, and the gear pack has got like a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, bobbleheads, all sorts of cool stuff.
Sick.
Yeah, it's I only have 3. Okay, of these really cool price. But I think the value on them it's like $300. You have to get me a direct relationship with a former player or current player. But so if you have a cousin who has a next door neighbor who has a brother who is let's say, I don't know, Xavier McKinney's roommate, someone lives across the hall for him, get me an interview, prize pack's yours. Yeah, your uncle is dating some Gates' sister, get me an interview, prize pack's yours. So,
let me say one thing,
yeah,
because there's a lot of Giants fans. I'm talking to you. The ones that are in my DMs, when we go reach out to these players, you slide right in my DMs and say, I know that guy. I can get you that guy. Challenge is yours. You got a pack coming to you. So the ones that are in my DMs and it's flooded and I take my time and I answer you.
And I need the proof. Like I need the proof of that individual to say, hey, I got really good friends with I don't know. I got really good friends with Martellus Bennett. I got, I'm really good for, or my cousin is, Orleans Darkwood. You know what I mean? Like if you got what's the game called? Fresh, Kevin Bacon.
6 degrees.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You make it happen. And his price pack is pretty gnarly. It's got some really cool stuff in there. I might even do this. I might even throw in this Barkley bobblehead, okay, wearing his Color Rush jersey. All right, unopened pop. All right, look at that. All right, so I'm gonna include.
I want that.
Hell yeah!
You work here, you cannot have that. So thanks for listening to another episode of Giants Guys. Really sorry that when you flick this on tomorrow, you're gonna be like, "What's up? No Kevin Boss." I don't know what happened, but we will attempt to link up with him again. He's a busy guy. He's running the business. He's the dad. He's got a big family. So he's probably got a bunch of stuff going on. And so I'm out there, prize pack for all you people, new hoodies in the shop, which I think you've seen. They're pretty badass. One showed up at my doorstep today, so I modeled it all for you good folks. What else? Mikey Fresh, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at MikeyFresh04. Happy to chat. Send some videos of myself in my Giants gear, my daughter cheering on Big Blue faithful.
Smoking cigars.
Smoking cigars. I need a break though. That was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot of cigars I had in like a 6-7 day stretch.
Yep. How about you, Eli? Where can they find you?
Hey man, at I am Eli Rax. You can also Google Eli Rax. I will come up there as well, guys. Instagram, Twitter, mainly Twitter. Just get at me, guys, man. Any Giant news, etc. I'm here at I am Eli Rex.
Yep. And of course, stay tuned for the Friday show. Okay, Friday. Do you know what Friday is? Yes, it's the day after Thursday. What happens on Thursday? What? By the way, Fresh, what in the world are you doing over there?
Okay.
I got like a whole shot of your lap, and I was like, "What the heck's he doing?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My bad. I was looking at the monitor behind the one I have.
Oh, gotcha. All right. So Thursday, Giants are playing the Washington Football Club at NFL Network. I think pretty much is the way to go. But here's the thing: Friday, when you're all like flipping out after a cool win or flipping out over a real bad loss, what do we have for you? bang, the El Jefe Spiro show is on Friday. And I think, not positive because I can't keep track of everybody at one time, but I think the truth, which we haven't seen in a couple of weeks, I think he'll be spotting in on Friday from what I have heard. So another episode of Giants Guys, please subscribe. Bang the button. Subscribe. Yes, we need the subscribers. So I only asked you two things. Watch the play where Reggie Ragland sucks and the ball happens to get knocked down, and subscribe. Not asking you to do a lot. We love you, folks. Thank you very much. Appreciate everything. We're OUT out, and check us out at nygiantsrush.com.
OG, man.
Thanks for listening to another episode of The Giants Guys.